everybody, and welcome here today for one of our famous Kerfuffle partnerships. I love this. It's sharing the love. It feels just like the right thing as we approach Valentine's Day. Already then dated it for someone who's watching this in March and April, but it doesn't matter. We are here at the end of January, just so people know. Gents, hello, Rich. After seeing you again on Monday down at Dezrez headquarters, you're looking better than you did at 1 o'clock.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks. It's good to see you. And yeah, you're welcome to come down to Dezrez HQ. It's lovely to have you.
That's great, thank you. And I've got a lot of stationery, and that's the main reason for my visit. And then we have Tim Barnett, CEO of Credas. How are you, sir?
Really good, thanks. Really good. How are you doing, Si?
I'm all right. You were dissing Richie's ability there to hold his drink, but today is about being nice. This is about being friendly, isn't it? And about two powerhouses of the industry having decided to get together. So can we kick off with that? In fact, actually, let's just do a bit of an intro. So literally 20 seconds. You're not even allowed an elevator pitch. Rich, just describe again what Dezrez is about, and then Tim, if you do the same for Credas, and then we'll kick into to the union.
Okay, thanks, Simon. So as everyone should know by now, we're all about connecting the property world, and we've spoken to you a number of times about the integrations that we're doing with our CRM. And today we're going to be talking about another industry first, I believe, and it's really going to be helping our agents become compliant and stay compliant.
And you are right. You are, I think, it's a dubious title to have, but you are top of the league of most partnership webinars out there, so there's got to be something valuable in there as well. So well done. And then over to you, Tim. You're doing obviously some really interesting stuff out there. Do you want to give people just a bit of context about that?
Yeah, very straightforward. Look, we specialise in providing technology to the property sector so that they can do their due diligence checks easily, slickly, and make life more straightforward for agents.
Well, I'm all up for that. You know, that's got me straight away. Anything that makes life easier. So essentially, the title of the webinar: Remain compliant with AML checks within Rezzy, powered by Credas. So that's does what it says on the tin. But we're going to go into a little bit more detail now over the next few minutes. So first and foremost, guys, how did this feature come about? What was the driver for you to start talking together? Who wants to kick us off?
Shall we start on that one, Rich?
Yeah, go on, Tim.
Well, it starts like every story starts in Wales at the top of a mountain. Actually, I was on top of a mountain. I was injured. Actually, I'd ruptured my Achilles, and somebody stopped and was helping strap me up and give me some painkillers, and we got talking. And it turns out he was a friend or an acquaintance of the Dezrez CEO. And so by the time we got down off the bottom of the mountain, he'd introduced us, and pretty quickly, actually, it was quite obvious the value that both businesses could add to each other. And the two technology teams started speaking to each other, and it took days for the integration to get done. So
was that because you were full of
yeah, that's true. I was pumped full of morphine at the time, so it seemed like a great idea.
You'd be amazed how many deals are done over morphine in this. This is such a classic prop tech tale here. Full of morphine, do prop tech deal. Okay, well, that's great. Is the Achilles all right now though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fine. It's no problem. But no, it was interesting. You never know. For me, it's quite a good lesson because you literally never know who you're talking to, do you? And particularly that both companies are located on the Welsh Riviera, as nobody calls it. We're the city slickers in Cardiff, and Rich and his guys are the country bumpkins in Swansea. But there's a lot of fintech and prop tech businesses in South Wales. There's a really good networking. There's really good government support as well. And so, yeah, it's all about speaking to the right people. And yeah, the value, it jumped off the page as soon as we all started speaking to each other. It became very obvious, I think, that we could, both of our customer bases were going to benefit from this relationship. So we just cracked on with it.
I mean, it is an obvious one, isn't it, Tim? And I suppose, here's the main thing about it. Those are the relationships that need to happen, aren't they? When it feels so obvious, that you can do that.
Well, if you're focused on making the agent's life easier, stuff like this becomes natural, isn't it? So we're busy doing our bit, making it life easier. Rich and his team are over here making the agent's life easier. So it makes perfect sense to start holding hands a little bit.
Yeah.
And apart from being heroes and saving people up the side of mountains, don't worry, you will never have to do that with me. I can guarantee you that. Yours is a bit easier, isn't it, here, Rich? Because as you said before, is connecting the property world is your new mantra here, and it's just another site with you really trying to deliver on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you, like Tim said, as soon as we started working together, the value was there to see straight away. And we talked a few times, Simon, about us solving challenges for agents, and that's really what we love doing with our tech. So as soon as we got together with Tim and the guys, we could see the value in this. And there's so many high-profile agencies at the moment being fined for not being compliant. With this system, with a click of a button, you can be compliant, and you can get compliance done. Within one day, you can move from being completely non-compliant to being compliant. And we'll talk a bit more about the model and everything later, but it just makes things easy for the agent.
So again, as somebody who's probably the least compliant person in the industry is my LinkedIn claim to fame.
Least fashion compliant, from what I can say.
It's an alpha whale thing. People have to go with it. So it's there. So talk to us though about the moment. What is the requirement on agents at the moment for AML checks? Let's set the scene there, obviously, to why this is absolutely necessary.
Yeah, and look, I think, do you want me to pick this one up, Rich? Because
yeah, you're the expert, Tim.
Something we talk a lot about, and I'm quite passionate about making this as simple a subject as it needs to be. I think it gets overly complicated. I think as a sector, we blow it up to be something bigger than it needs to be. I think at its heart, it's very, very straightforward. And basically what it is if you are an estate agent already, or you want to set up an estate agency, you have to register with HMRC. And if you don't know if you're going to be an estate agent, or you want to know how they define it, there's a link on the government website. It very clearly sets out a number of activities. And if you do any of those activities, then you are an estate agent. And if anyone wants that link, you can hit me up, hit me up on LinkedIn or whatever, and I'll send it to you. So once you're registered on HMRC, which is a legal obligation you have to do, you're then subject to the provisions of the anti-money laundering regulations, right? And they just come hand in glove. You just ask straight away, right?
Yeah.
And what those regulations do, they set out, and it's quite clear actually, what the obligations are on you for each and every one of your transactions. Every time you buy or you sell a house, what it is that you need to do. I'll give you an example, right? It's not particularly complicated. It'll set out that for each transaction, you need to conduct, as an estate agent, a risk assessment.
Yeah.
And the results of that risk assessment will then determine the types of checks that you have to run on the individual that you're transacting with. And look, those checks, they can be something as simple as an ID, confirmation and verifying somebody's ID. It could be checking their address as a proof of address, or seeing if they're on any international sanctions lists. That's the kind of naughty boys and naughty girls list that if somebody's on there, you have to be careful about dealing with them. Right, and all of that, right, conducting those checks is a pain for agents, right? It's admin, it takes a lot of time, it can be a barrier to the sale. So what Credas does is we've got a service that makes it nice and easy, and then what Dezrez have done is taken that service and plugged it into theirs to make it even easier again. So basically, estate agents can get on with what they're good at, which is flogging houses, right?
Yeah, spot on. So how does it work?
Oh, I haven't got a clue. No, I don't.
Hot potato back over to me.
No, it's probably one for Rich to explain how the integration works, I think.
Yeah, sure. So I will try and share my screen so I can show you guys exactly how we built this into Rezzy, because this is obviously the key part of the conversations that we quite often have with clients. Is they say to us, our CRMs are always telling us they've connected, or they've integrated with a partner. And when we actually look at it, it's all smoke and mirrors, it's a load of rubbish. But this is, again, what we always say is when we talk about an integration, it's done, we've delivered it, clients are using it. And that's, again, this is the same thing. So this is not smoke and mirrors, this is happening right now. Clients are using it in our software. And it's, as we said, it's easy as a click of a button.
Yeah.
So what you can see on screen here now is you can see one of our dashboards. So in Rezzy, you can set up your own dashboards. And for this client, we just set up an AML Checks dashboard. So and on that dashboard, there's a widget, which is the Credas widget, which brings in all the information about all the checks that you've carried out on all of your contacts within your database. And you also, when a status change happens on one of these compliance checks, you get a toast update anywhere in the system, and it will just come up and say something's happened, something's changed, someone has been approved, someone's been rejected, and that information then appears on the dashboard. So you've always got that information in front of you. You could actually put that widget on your home dashboard if you wanted to. It's just we've created our own dashboard there. And then, so that's kind of got all your information in one place, which is great. And when you want to actually carry out a check, we have two options. You have a standard or an enhanced version of the AML check.
Yep.
And you literally just click on a button here, and you carry out that check. That information is then sent to the individual. The individual then can log into the Credas app, which Tim will tell us about, which is I think one of the top 20 apps in the UK. Is that right, Tim?
Well done, Rich. Thank you.
There we go. Okay, mate. I did listen when you were telling me the other day.
Yeah.
And you can see here, so as that moves through the journey, so you can see here, Ross Liddell, our very own Ross Liddell, has used himself as a guinea pig here, and showing that this is the information that comes up, and you can approve or reject this individual once you get that information. And then just moving on through, in Rezzy we have a document storage area where all your documents get stored. So when that information is in the system from the sent across from the Credas app, it will appear there. You click on that, and what you get then is this view. So there he is in all his glory in his kitchen. But there's some specifics here that I think that Tim can tell us about. But the key is that some of the things that we get with Credas, even at a basic level, are sort of market leading from a tech perspective. Like, for example, as a standard check, you get a biometric test, and so it like looks at facial recognition, all that kind of stuff, and that's on your basic level. So, and that is quite often not included at that level. It's usually at an advanced level, which you pay more for. So that's
added security and safety.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, that's it in a nutshell, and I wanted to share that so people can see how it works, and how it's working right now for our clients that are using this, and we're getting some great feedback from it. You know, one client,
it's not just been with a couple of clients, has it? You've got quite a few testing.
Oh yeah, we've got a lot. I mean, we've rolled it out, and we've been quite cautious about doing it, which we are with all our integrations. We want to make sure we do it in the right way, but it's been one of the best ones we've done in terms of uptake, because it's so simple, as you can see there.
It looks really slick. I mean, it's one of those ones where sometimes I have to try and figure out what's going on, but you know, even an idiot like me can follow that through. And I think the thing I love about it as well, you are quite right. If we're honest, and I'll probably have to take a hit here for the sales teams of CRM companies. When in my day, you know, integration doesn't always just mean integration, does it? People are out there and say it means different things to different people. And actually, in the past, firing off an email is not integration, is it? Equally, so what annoys a lot of agents is sometimes where, you know, it's just passing the information and then you're bouncing out into a completely different package. From if I have understood it right there, you're never leaving Rezzy, are you? I mean, which is again is another time-saving efficiency bonus. Just on the face of everything.
I think you make an important point, Simon, is that the definition of integration can be a bit woolly sometimes. Yeah. It's a really slick and one of the better examples I've seen, if not the best example I've seen in Rezzy. To give you an example, so what you might have is an agent at the moment logged into Rezzy, using it as a CRM. If they're already a Credas customer or not, they'll then come out of Rezzy and then use the Credas system, lovely, all nice and easy. But there's still two different systems. So what Dezrez have done is literally, you can still be within Rezzy, click a single button, it'll go off to all the Credas stuff and bring all the results back still into there. So it genuinely is incredibly slick integration with, you know, one or two button clicks, it's done, not logging in and out of different systems. There's a key point as well, there is no data flying around, if that makes sense. And so there's a really important concept called data minimization. Yeah. I see it all the time, okay, with estate agents. So what might happen is they'll ask the end user to email me in a copy of passport, right? Yeah. Which in itself isn't enough to verify an ID, but that's a separate point. So that email will sit in the sent box from the end user, right? Yeah. Come into the agent, maybe to an info at. It then might get forwarded to the sales guy or the branch manager, so and then get filed or deleted.
And all the time that's going on, there's the potential there for it to be intercepted.
Yeah, well, it's incredible, right? Because it'll sit in the deleted folder and then it'll sit in the sent folder, right? So you've already got 3 copies of that passport and bank statement. Yeah. It'll arrive with the sales guy or the branch manager. They might then stick it on a server, maybe upload it to the CRM and then delete it off their Outlook. So without even trying very hard, that individual's got 6 versions of this email floating around everywhere, or even worse, sometimes printed out, stuck in an in tray for a few days and then shoved in a filing cabinet for years at the back. So at least with this, the data is there within Rezzy. You start within Rezzy, the results come back within Rezzy, and it's absolutely built into that journey. Yeah, so it's very efficient.
That's one of the classic as well. We need to have these conversations, you know, to understand actually that, you know, on the face of it as well, it just looks really, really simple, but behind it as well, there's all the security you would hope to have in this vital area.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we're backed by Microsoft, so you know, the best organizations in the industry in the world that are constantly looking at their security and updating their systems. And obviously our platform is built on Microsoft, so we're, you know, the security side of things is second to none. And that, you know, again, as Tim says, you know, you've got it all in one place on a really secure system. So it just is key, it's helping you with all those kind of worries that you might have about data compliance and data safety.
And any other feedback from those agents about how it's benefiting them? Are they too early to tell, or are they seeing any other benefits at the moment apart from what?
Yeah, I think apart from the efficiency and apart from the compliance things, which are obviously key, it's the pricing as well. So with our this model that the deal we've done with Credas is that there's no contract for the agent, so you can just buy this on a pay-as-you-go model. It's £4 for a standard, £6 for an enhanced. And that's really well priced.
I was going to say that sounds pretty competitively priced.
It is very competitive, and particularly when you take into account to get that sort of level, normally you would have to sign up to a contract, maybe 3 years, a 3-year term contract, which is a lot of is a big overhead.
Agents hate long contracts like that, don't they? Let's be honest, especially, you know, with things like auto renews on contracts and everything else. It's not
what business knows what they're doing in 3 years? I mean, we're all operating on 2 months at a time with COVID and the pandemic and changing market conditions and legislation changes, and that 3 years is a long time.
Yeah. So Deddy, obviously the beautiful thing from your point of view, both of you having the confidence, knowing that it works, you're going to be able to get people without that contract on to just suck it and see if it's for them.
Yeah. And I mean, we've been doing it now for a few months, but you know, everyone who's taken it on has just continued with it and just said it's a great service, you know. So it's working really well for all
before I jump back in, what I am just thinking about it, Rich, is you mentioned how many of these have been doing, is the sheer length and breadth of the type of integrations you're doing is pretty exciting, isn't it? I mean, it literally is across the entire life cycle of agency with it, as has to happen, because obviously CRM touches every part of this. But it's not like you're specializing in just one area, maybe the prospecting bit, because that's where all the sex and the sizzle goes. You're looking at, you know, all of the vital areas that agents are having to do anyway on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, for smaller agents as well, this is absolutely essential, because you may be, you know, a corporate agency may have a whole team of people looking at this compliance side of things and making sure the agency is compliant. But when, you know, you're a smaller agent, maybe a few of you in an office, you know, you need someone like us to help you with that. And that's really what we want to do. We want to bring that tech-led compliance approach to all of our customers. And again, this is another one of those great integrations.
There's another really important party in all of this as well that benefits. And look, we both Rich and my business is a service industry. Estate agents providing a service, right, to the public. And nowadays, with the technology available, if somebody told me, right, you know, I need to see your passport and your utility bills, so get in the car, drive an hour into the city, go and park in an NCP, walk through the rain into our branch, so somebody who's untrained can photocopy it and it'll kick around the office for years on end. It's unacceptable to people now. Right? The market won't accept it. It's a barrier to the sale. It slows it all down. And we're all there, aren't we, to help agents have an easier life and ultimately remove barriers from the sale, get the transaction completed. But there's a definite consumer push at the minute that they won't accept antiquated, poor security and you know, methods that aren't particularly robust. So really interesting, very important. Our customers and Rich's customers are estate agents, but there is another party that we all need to be thinking about, and that is the end user, and they're starting to demand.
You're absolutely, you know, we always focus in, I think I mistakenly always go straight through to speaking to likes of obviously Rich and yourself, and then we deviate to what we see as our clients as the agents. But what we're forgetting is the most important of all. If it is one of those products that does ultimately end up B2C, what's their experience of it? And what you've just absolutely highlighted, and I was just talking about it on a show yesterday there, Tim, is you're quite right, is that we're not just being judged by the standards within this industry. If they are experiencing this, as they will be AMLs in other industries, and it isn't up to that level or there, the age-old shrug of the shoulders and bloody estate agents is only going to continue, isn't it?
Well, it's really interesting, right? If you contrast that example I just gave you of, you know, having to get in the car and do it a manual process, If you've got an agent using Rezzy with the integration we've got, literally they don't have to type anything. All the information's there. They click the button. Their customer will get a text message or an email. They'll take a selfie, take a picture, or read the chip off their passport, and it's done. They could be on a beach in Honolulu. It takes about 15 seconds to complete. It's instant, straight away. When you contrast, what's it cost? Was it £4 or something?
Yeah.
So when you contrast those two, and we are a service industry at the end of the day, there's no comparison, let alone all of the data minimization and the security and all of that sort of stuff. And so, yeah, we certainly see it, that there's a real, starting to be a demand. And I think agents soon who aren't providing this level of service, will be at a competitive disadvantage.
That's the thing, is that at the moment you're going to be in the nice ahead of the curve stage, where agents always tell me what we want to invest when we're actually making a difference and able to stand out the crowd, rather than when it's still just as important, you're doing it just because everybody else does it and actually you're falling behind. So, if there is a time to get on board with this, it's right now, isn't it, where you can make the most of it.
I think it's smart the way Rich and his team have done it as well, right? Not signing up if it's new, right? If this is new technology, people sometimes are, nervous about that. The fact you can just try it for a few quid, try it on half a dozen customers, try it for free. I think you guys are doing a trial for free.
Yeah, we are.
Right? You're not signing up for years and doing massive training sessions for your team and all that sort of stuff. It's just a very, very smart.
You've ruined my clothes. I was going to get to the fantastic offer at the end. Honestly, do you not know how we do these things? We build up a crescendo of excitement, and then I let it down. You've popped my balloon there.
A crescendo of excitement around AML. That is.
Yes, exactly.
Said nobody ever.
Who would have thought? Well, look, guys. So are there any other USPs to this? Because I think it's really important if we talk about it. You mentioned there, obviously, the biometric stuff, even at the lower level, which I think you said is not very common there. Anything else we're missing, or?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of technical ones, and then Rich, you can perhaps give the Rezzy side if you want. From the solutions point of view, Rich touched on it earlier, right? Our mobile app is in the top 20, top 23, I think it was this morning. Business apps in the UK, right? So that's alongside Uber, Facebook, WhatsApp. It's the highest rated one in the world, right? 90-odd thousand reviews on the iOS store, 4.6 out of 5.
Sorry, you've got, just as you just said there, for a slightly, I'll have to, you can see the kind of slightly grey area, albeit vitally right. You have the top 20 of all apps and the highest rated one in the world.
Yeah, right. And bearing in mind, right, it's not Candy Crush, is it? This is doing admin. Right? You know what I mean? So it's phenomenal. And what that is, right, it's a demonstration, because as a business, right, what we understand is that it doesn't matter how good your tech is, right? It doesn't matter how sophisticated it is. If the end user and the user experience isn't slick and smooth and easy, it don't matter. No. So we're evangelical about that user experience. And that's why I mentioned earlier, you could be sitting on a beach, you've got your passport in your pocket, you take a selfie, take a picture of your passport, read the chip, send it in, and within half a second, those results are in Rezzy there for you, right? So it's very, very important. The other thing I think that's important to point out is that within the estate agency sector in the UK that's using these digital processes, currently between 35-40% of them go through Credas. Right, we power a lot of our competitors. We license our technology to them, because all of our technology, or nearly all of our technology, is our own IP. We write it ourselves. Lots of roomfuls of clever people doing the same as what Dezrez are doing. And that's very, very important, because there's millions of people gone through this. And it's all about trust, right? It's about the agent being able to trust they know who they're dealing with. It's about the agent being able to trust the results they're getting back from Rezzy and from Credas are accurate. So it's all built around trust, and every year millions of people use this. It's got a huge footprint, it's a really trusted brand from our side in Credas, and then obviously within the state agency sector, Dezrez and the Rezzy product equally has that level of trust, been around a long time. So I think as a USP, putting those together, what you've got is just really solid technology platforms, really well trusted, but really focus on what they're there to do. It's not tech for the sake of tech, right? It's there to make agents' lives easier so they can go and flog houses, and that's what it's all about for me.
No, I mean, if anything, Tim, I think you've underplayed that, actually, because for somebody to as you quite rightly said, playing Candy Crush or something like that, and the little reminder comes up, would you like to remind it? They're going to be far. You'd think that's they're going to be quite likely to do that. But to come for more, dare I say, mundane apps, it has to be doubly powerful and impressive for you to have left that review, and certainly to have left one, you know, in those numbers. And then the second element there, which is just as important as well, which is where it's going to keep you ahead of the curve, you know, on the absolute belief you're going to continue to do this, is when people are feeling nervous anyway about sharing this sort of information, to be able to see that this app is 5-star rated by so many people. It's almost like, you know, how none of us ever bother looking at the Apple terms of business, because that's a brand we absolutely trust now, isn't it? And that has a beneficial effect in itself.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. I think, well, I probably talked over Rich there. Rich, over to you.
No. I totally agree, and I think what's been really interesting about this conversation is the consumer's part in this, and that, you know, we like Simon says, we quite rightly, I think, you know, focus on our agents. What can we do for agents? But really, it's agents, customers that we really want to help, and this absolutely hits that sweet spot, really. And it's great to work with a company that have such an amazing mobile app, you know, and it's not easy to create a mobile app, and one that people find simple to use, because there's bloody millions of them out there, and some of them are crap, you know, and quite a lot of them are crap, you know. So the work the guys have done, and to make something like AML so simple, so easy, and then for us just to be able to build that into our platform and give that to our customers is just, you know, it's just a great situation for our clients to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's got to the stage where I never thought I'd hear them say the words, even though I don't need it, I'm going to be downloading the Credas app to have a look at it, because I am that interested in it now. So,
hey, Rich, this is where we find out if Simon's actually a Russian gangster or something like that.
Yeah. Actually, I've got to be careful about getting on the grid again, haven't I? On my Jason Bourne credentials. Here I was hiding in plain sight. Can I just ask you a question, actually, Tim, just talking about, maybe, Rich, if you could just cover your ears. Clearly, you know, working together with any companies, you can have the best will in the world, but sometimes it can be difficult to make it happen. Rich has, you know, they've been very proud about the speed of development that they've been able to work with us. From your point of view, how easy was it working with the Dezrez technical team to make this magic happen?
Yeah, there's two big differences, actually, because obviously we deal with a lot of other technology companies, and a lot of other companies don't have their own resource in-house in the building as their own employees. Maybe a lot of it is subbed out, or it's not their own tech and they license it. I touched on it earlier. People would be shocked if they knew how many people, if you lifted up the solution under the hood, is Credas tech that we white label and license out to even our competitors. What's different with Dezrez is when we're working with them, the team's just melded straight away, because within Dezrez, the guys are writing their own stuff. They deploy it very, very quickly. The integration took days. And it's the same for us. If we want to make a change, if legislation changes, and it's a really good example, right? End of last year, LandReg introduced something called Safe Harbor, a new series of standards. Within 72 hours, that was deployed into our system. So it would be, you know, through Rezzy as well, and it was being used. It was about 4 or 5 months later. I saw elsewhere in the market, people saying, right, we just deployed our new Safe Harbor standards, and we're the first. It's because, you know, both organizations own their own IP, they're writing their own stuff, and got very talented people who can just pivot very, very, very quickly.
So massive as you are in this space, you're still, you know, nimble enough to be able to change that. And the way that they've done it, they can just piggyback that speed of development that you have that benefits everybody. And you're not waiting, as you said, for a kind of oil tanker update. You're actually getting it as and when you need it.
It's critical, right? With a mobile app, if you license it off somebody else under a white label and want to make a fundamental change or an update, it's difficult. You have to go back to your licensing off, maybe rely on their developers. They put it into their backlog. If, like Rezzy, they want to make a change, they've got people in the room who can make a change. If we want to make a change to Credas, we've got talented people in the room who can make a change to Credas. That's not the case for solutions out there, both in terms of CRM and in terms of what we do. There's a very, very big difference. And when you meet another technology business who has that skills within the business, their own IP, their own product, they've built it and crafted it for their customer base themselves, it makes doing things like this very, very straightforward. And I think it was less than 5 days it took to do an incredibly slick, full integration between two well-established technology platforms. And it is amazing.
Yeah, it is. You know, as somebody who's spent a bit of time in this game as well, and as on occasion waited a little bit longer than that for things to happen, that's pretty incredible. And guys, what's the deal? I think you as Tim burst my balloon there. What's the deal with Rezzy agents who want to give this a go?
So if you're a Rezzy agent and you want to sign up and use the system, you can ask us just to have that turned on. Once the system's turned on for you guys, then you literally just start using it. You get 5 free checks to start with, and then, as I said, it's £4 for a standard or £6 for enhanced check with no contract, no minimum. You just get a chance to try it really and see how amazing it is. And I'm sure once they do that, they will love it, and it will really help them be compliant and can deliver all things we've talked about in this session.
Beautiful. Well, it's an absolute no-brainer. Then is it? And what should be the do they just contact your account managers, their account managers, or get this set up?
Yeah, they can go on to www.dezrez.co.uk, and they can go in there and you'll see it on the homepage there. You'll be able to just sign up there, or you can just you can call us on our number. We've got little help areas in Rezzy where you can go there as well. So it's really easy to find it.
Lovely. Well, look, gents, congratulations. Let me just summarise this then from what I can see. So you're going to be able to save time, obviously, by ordering the AML checks from Rezzy, powered by Credas, actually within the application itself. You're going to be able to get, the better level of security, get away with all this data, important personal data flying around that you have at the moment. Secondly, no commitment or contract there. You've got a strong enough belief, obviously, from what we've heard today about the product there, that they're going to suck it and see, try this, and they're going to stick with you as clients. So that's absolutely fantastic. And as we said, if they do go forwards at a very competitive price point as well. And then finally, as well as if to seal the deal, Rezzy agents get their first 5 checks for using the integration.
Yep.
Not much more to say, is there?
Where do I sign?
It feels like one of those. Well, gents, look, hats off to you. A Welsh powerhouse union there. That's the coming together of 2 cities, Swansea and Cardiff. So congratulations, guys. Yeah, again, loving the innovation.
Thank you, Si.
Thank you, and thanks for the invite. I've enjoyed the last 20 minutes.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.